Mars moves into the sign of Gemini on August 2, 2026, and stays there until September 18, 2026, spending close to 45 days in this air sign of communication and business. It is essential to note that these interpretations are based on sidereal or Vedic astrology, which accounts for the approximately 24-degree difference with the tropical zodiac. Mars is transiting Gemini, a sign ruled by Mercury, a planet that is naturally inimical to Mars in Vedic astrology. When the planet of action, courage and raw energy enters the domain of its enemy, the results are rarely calm and quiet. Mars in Gemini tends to convert raw force into words, arguments, fast decisions and restless movement rather than into slow, steady physical effort, so the overall mood of this transit across the world is likely to be quick-tempered, argumentative and mentally very active for almost everyone, no matter their personal chart. Gemini itself represents communication in every form, whether spoken, written or digital, along with business dealings, marketing, networking, short journeys and the gathering of information. Gemini spans the nakshatras Mrigashira, Ardra and Punarvasu, and each carries a different influence. Mars feels relatively comfortable in Mrigashira because it is one of Mars' own nakshatras, encouraging initiative, exploration and constructive action. Ardra, ruled by Rahu, brings greater intensity, unpredictability and a desire for rapid change, while Punarvasu, ruled by Jupiter, introduces a more optimistic, restorative and philosophical influence. The exact degree of Mars in relation to these nakshatras, along with your natal chart and current dasha, will naturally influence how strongly these results manifest in your own life. One of the defining themes of this transit is communication. Conversations become faster, opinions become stronger, and people may feel more confident expressing themselves than usual. This can be highly beneficial for business, marketing, sales, education, negotiations, public speaking, writing, and content creation. The same confidence can sometimes become impatience if emotions are allowed to take control. Choosing your words carefully, listening before reacting, and avoiding unnecessary arguments will help you gain the greatest benefit from this transit. Mars also governs movement, speed, and physical activity, while Gemini rules transportation, short journeys, and daily travel. This combination increases the desire to stay busy, travel more frequently, and accomplish many things at once. While this can improve productivity, it also reminds us to remain attentive while driving, traveling, or operating machinery. Simple precautions such as avoiding distractions, following traffic rules, and resisting the urge to rush can prevent avoidable problems. There is also a genuinely constructive side to this transit. The same fiery energy that fuels arguments can just as easily fuel business growth, marketing pushes, sales efforts, writing projects, and any work connected to gathering information or expanding your knowledge through further study. If you consciously channel this Mars into your work and communication, trade or education instead of into conflict, these 45 days can bring real, tangible progress. Several important planetary influences make this Mars transit especially significant. First, Rahu is currently transiting Aquarius, casting its fifth aspect directly onto Mars and Gemini. Rahu amplifies whatever it influences, adding intensity, innovation, and unconventional thinking to Mars' natural drive. This combination can encourage brilliant ideas, original thinking, and bold decisions, but it can also increase impatience, obsession, and impulsive behavior if left unchecked. Throughout this transit, taking a moment to pause before making important decisions will often produce far better results than reacting immediately. Second, Venus remains debilitated in Virgo from August 1st to September 2nd, receiving Mars' direct fourth aspect from Gemini. This is one of the defining combinations of this transit. Venus governs relationships, harmony, comforts, finances, creativity, and diplomacy, while Mars represents action and intensity. Mars' influence on a debilitated Venus can temporarily increase impatience in relationships, criticism, emotional sensitivity, or dissatisfaction with matters ruled by Venus. At the same time, it also provides the motivation to improve these areas instead of ignoring them. Exactly how this combination affects you depends on which house Virgo occupies in your birth chart. Finally, this transit temporarily forms a Papa Karthari Yoga around the sign of Cancer. With Mars occupying Gemini and Ketu transiting Leo, Cancer becomes enclosed between two natural malefic planets. Wherever Cancer falls in your birth chart, the matters represented by that house may temporarily experience greater pressure, delays, or additional responsibilities. This is only part of the picture. Jupiter is simultaneously transiting Cancer, its exaltation sign, providing powerful protection, wisdom, and resilience. Rather than allowing this yoga to create major setbacks, Jupiter significantly softens its effects and often transforms temporary obstacles into opportunities for growth and maturity. It's crucial to perceive Mars as the planet of action. Wherever it transits in the chart or during transit, it ignites activity in matters associated with that specific house. If Mars is well positioned in the chart and during transit, it also takes on the role of a defender or protector, safeguarding the affairs related to the house it influences. To accurately assess the impact of these transits, it is crucial to consider your ascendant and moon signs. The ascendant sign offers insights into the timing of life events, while the moon sign reveals how you will emotionally respond to these changes. Take into account the position of your current Mahadasha Lord in your birth chart, as it can shed light on how these transits will influence the recurring themes of your current dasha period. This transit may manifest differently for each individual, and how they navigate this transit will depend on their personal charts. A more precise understanding of the impact of this transit can be gained by examining Mars's Ashtaka score in Gemini. Keep in mind that the effects of this transit are contingent on Mars's interaction with the planets in individual birth charts. It's also worth noting that individuals currently experiencing the influence of Mars Dasha may feel the effects of this transit more intensely. To understand how this transit may affect you based on your zodiac sign and the houses it transits, let's delve into those specifics. For Aries, Mars transits through your third house of courage, communication, siblings, and self-effort from August 2nd to September 18th, 2026. Since Mars is your own ruling planet, this transit naturally has your attention, but remember it is sitting in Gemini, a sign ruled by Mercury, which is not on friendly terms with Mars. So while this period does boost your courage and drive, the way that drive expresses itself is through sharper words rather than calm physical action. You will feel a strong urge to speak your mind, push your point of view, and get involved in every conversation happening around you. This is a good time to take up writing, recording, public speaking, or any work involving marketing and pitching, because your natural boldness combines with Gemini's gift for communication. This same combination can also make you blunt to the point of rudeness. You may find yourself snapping at people, especially siblings, neighbors, or coworkers you deal with daily, over small matters that would not normally bother you. Short trips and local travel are likely to increase during this window, whether for work or personal reasons, and while these journeys can be productive, Mars in Gemini also raises the risk of rash driving and minor accidents, so slow down and stay alert whenever you are on the move. Rahu is currently aspecting your Mars from Aquarius, and this adds a restless, slightly obsessive quality to how you communicate. You might find yourself repeating an argument in your head long after it is over, or getting unusually fixated on proving a point on social media or in group chats. Try to notice this pattern and step back before it consumes too much of your mental energy, because Rahu's influence tends to exaggerate whatever Mars is already doing. Mars also casts its fourth aspect onto your sixth house of disputes, health, debts, and daily work during this transit. This can bring some friction with coworkers or clients, and if you already have any pending legal or contractual matters, this is the period when they are likely to become active again. On the positive side, if you have been putting off addressing a health concern or a workplace conflict, this transit gives you the energy and boldness to actually deal with it rather than avoid it, and outcomes can favor you if you approach things directly instead of aggressively. Venus is also debilitated in Virgo from August 1st to September 2nd, sitting right in this same sixth house, and receiving Mars's aspect there. This combination can bring extra stress around service-related matters, colleagues, or minor health complaints, so try to keep your temper in check when dealing with people who report to you or work alongside you. Your ninth house of father, higher education, luck, and belief system receives Mars's seventh aspect during this transit. This can make you unusually firm, even rigid, about your opinions on religion, philosophy, or the direction of your life. You might find yourself in heated debates about beliefs or values with your father, a mentor, or a teacher figure. There is also potential here for long-distance travel plans to come up suddenly. Retrograde Saturn in Pisces is simultaneously aspecting this same ninth house, which adds a slow, restrictive undertone, so plans connected to higher education, foreign travel, or publishing may face delays even as Mars pushes you to move fast. Patience will serve you better than forcing outcomes in this area right now. The eighth aspect of Mars falls on your 10th house of career and public standing, and this is one of the more important effects of this transit for you. You may experience a sudden shift at work, whether that is a new responsibility landing on your desk unexpectedly, a change in your role, or a clash with a boss or authority figure over how things should be done. If your natal Mars and 10th house are well placed, this can actually work in your favor, giving you the courage to take charge and be noticed for your leadership. If placement is weaker, be careful not to let ego clashes with superiors damage your professional reputation during these 7 weeks. Cancer falls in your 4th house of home, mother and emotional peace, and the Papa Karthari Yoga formed by Mars in Gemini and Ketu in Leo affects this house through this transit. You may find your home environment a little more tense than usual, or feel that domestic peace is harder to come by, and your mother's well-being or mood may need some extra attention and patience from you. The good news is that Jupiter is transiting through Cancer at the same time, and this offers real protection here, so the disturbance is likely to feel manageable rather than severe, and things related to property or home renovation can still move forward, just perhaps with a bit more caution than usual. Overall, this is a high-energy, high-communication period for Aries individuals, and the best way to use it is to put your assertiveness into productive channels like business development, writing, sales, or finally starting a project that requires courage and initiative. Watch your words carefully with siblings, coworkers, and your father figure. Drive carefully, and avoid picking fights just for the sake of being right. Meditation or any calming daily practice will help you manage the extra heat this transit brings to your speech and your temper, and channel that same energy into results you will be proud of once Mars moves on from Gemini on September 18th. If you have been hesitant to negotiate a deal, pitch an idea, or have a difficult conversation you keep postponing, this transit gives you the courage to finally act. Just pair that courage with tact, because Gemini rewards clever, persuasive communication far more than blunt force, and the difference between winning people over and pushing them away comes down to how carefully you choose your words. For Taurus, Mars transits through your 2nd house of wealth, family, speech and accumulated resources from August 2nd to September 18th, 2026. The 2nd house governs your income, savings, family values, speech and financial security. Whenever Mars occupies this house, it brings greater activity to financial matters and encourages you to become more assertive about money, resources, and personal priorities. Since Mars is transiting Gemini, a sign ruled by Mercury, much of this energy expresses itself through communication, negotiation, and business dealings rather than purely physical action. While this transit can occasionally create friction in family discussions, it also provides the courage to address financial matters that have been postponed for some time. This is a favorable period to negotiate a salary increase, pursue additional income, launch a business idea, or actively seek new financial opportunities. If you have been delaying important conversations about money, investments, or family finances, Mars gives you the confidence to take initiative. Gemini's influence also supports business, sales, marketing, consulting, and any profession that depends upon communication. Your ability to negotiate and persuade others can become one of your strongest strengths during these weeks, provided confidence does not become impatience. Because the 2nd house also governs speech, you may notice yourself expressing opinions more directly than usual. While honesty can help resolve long-standing misunderstandings, words spoken impulsively may unintentionally create tension within the family. Before responding emotionally during financial discussions or disagreements with relatives, take a moment to consider how your message will be received. Often, it is not what you say but how you say it that determines the outcome. Rahu, currently transiting Aquarius, casts its 5th aspect onto Mars throughout this transit. This intensifies your ambition regarding career, financial success, and long-term achievements. You may become highly focused on reaching a particular financial goal or proving yourself professionally. Rahu can also magnify impatience, making risky financial decisions appear more attractive than they really are. Before making major investments or speculative decisions, pause long enough to evaluate the long-term consequences. Bold decisions supported by careful planning can produce excellent results, while impulsive choices are more likely to create unnecessary complications. Mars also casts its 4th aspect onto your 5th house of children, education, creativity, and romance. This influence increases enthusiasm, passion, and competitive spirit. Students preparing for examinations may find themselves unusually motivated to succeed, while creative professionals can benefit from greater inspiration and productivity. Romance may become more passionate, but also more emotionally intense if expectations become unrealistic. An important influence during this period is debilitated Venus occupying your 5th house in Virgo from August 1st to September 2nd while receiving Mars' direct 4th aspect. Venus governs love, harmony, creativity and emotional satisfaction, so this combination may temporarily create greater sensitivity in romantic relationships or creative pursuits. Attraction and passion may increase, but so can impatience, criticism or unrealistic expectations. If you are in a relationship, appreciation and understanding will accomplish far more than trying to correct every perceived flaw. Parents should also remain patient with children, encouraging rather than pressuring them. Creative projects, however, can benefit enormously from Mars' drive, provided perfectionism does not replace steady progress. Your 8th house of transformation, joint finances, insurance and shared resources receives Mars' 7th aspect. Financial matters connected with loans, insurance, taxes, inheritances or a spouse's finances may become more active than usual. This does not necessarily indicate problems, rather, these areas are likely to require greater attention and practical decision-making. If you work in finance, taxation, insurance, research or crisis management, this transit can significantly improve your ability to solve complex problems and make strategic decisions. Retrograde Saturn in Pisces simultaneously casts its 10th aspect onto this same 8th house, encouraging patience and discipline in financial matters involving loans, insurance, taxes, inheritances or jointly held assets. While Mars pushes these issues into action, Saturn reminds you to proceed methodically, complete documentation carefully, and avoid taking unnecessary financial risks. Matters connected with settlements or long-term financial planning may move more slowly than expected, but Saturn's influence helps build greater stability over time. Mars' 8th aspect falls on your 9th house of father, higher education, long-distance travel, dharma and fortune. This aspect can make you more determined to pursue higher studies, travel plans or long-term life goals. You may also become more outspoken about your beliefs or eager to explore new philosophies and perspectives. At times, differences of opinion with your father, teacher or mentor may arise not necessarily because of conflict, but because Mars encourages independent thinking and decisive action. If you are planning foreign travel, higher education or publishing-related work, avoid rushing important decisions and take time to evaluate every detail carefully. This is a favorable period for taking initiative toward long-term goals, provided enthusiasm is balanced with thoughtful planning. Cancer occupies your 3rd house of courage, communication, siblings and self-effort. During this transit, Cancer becomes enclosed between Mars and Gemini and Ketu in Leo, forming a temporary Papa Karthari yoga around your 3rd house. As a result, communication projects, relationships with siblings or short-distance travel may occasionally face temporary delays or additional responsibilities. However, Jupiter is simultaneously transiting Cancer, significantly reducing the restrictive effects of this yoga. Instead of creating major obstacles, Jupiter transforms much of this pressure into opportunities for learning, growth and better communication. Projects that require persistence are likely to succeed, even if progress appears slower than expected initially. Health-wise, pay attention to minor issues involving the mouth, teeth, throat or face, as these areas are traditionally connected with the 2nd house. Maintaining a balanced diet, proper hydration and healthy daily routines will help you make the most of Mars' energy without allowing stress to affect your overall well-being. Overall, this is a constructive transit that encourages Taurus natives to strengthen their financial foundations, communicate more confidently and take practical action toward long-term security. The greatest challenge is not external circumstances but learning to combine confidence with patience, particularly when discussing money or family matters. For Gemini, this is one of the significant transits of the year because Mars moves directly through your 1st house of self, personality, health and physical vitality from August 2nd to September 18th, 2026. Whenever Mars enters the 1st house, it energizes almost every area of life. You are likely to feel more confident, motivated and willing to take initiative than you have in recent months. Since the 1st house represents your identity and the way others perceive you, people are likely to notice a stronger, more assertive and more determined version of you. Although Mars is traveling through Gemini, a sign ruled by its planetary enemy Mercury, this transit is far from entirely negative. It is a period that rewards courage, initiative and decisive action, provided you balance enthusiasm with patience. This is an excellent time to begin new ventures, take on leadership roles or pursue goals that require confidence and persistence. If you have been postponing an important conversation, launching a business, applying for a new position, or promoting yourself professionally, Mars gives you the courage to move forward. Gemini naturally rules communication, networking, and the exchange of ideas, while Mars supplies determination and competitive spirit. Writers, teachers, consultants, marketers, entrepreneurs, sales professionals, and content creators may find themselves unusually productive during these weeks. Your ability to persuade others, think quickly, and respond decisively becomes one of your greatest strengths. You may also notice an increase in physical energy and motivation. This is a favorable period for improving your fitness, starting a disciplined exercise routine, or working toward personal goals that require persistence. Mars naturally strengthens initiative, making it easier to develop healthier habits or finally begin projects you have been delaying. The key is to channel this additional energy constructively rather than allowing it to become restlessness. At the same time, Mars occupies Gemini, a sign that encourages constant movement and mental activity. This can make you more impatient, outspoken, or easily frustrated when people fail to keep pace with your ideas. Conversations may become more direct than usual, and while honesty is valuable, diplomacy remains equally important. Rather than trying to win every argument, focus on communicating clearly and confidently without becoming unnecessarily confrontational. The same determination that helps you succeed professionally can create avoidable conflicts if not balanced with patience. Rahu, currently transiting Aquarius, casts its fifth aspect directly onto Mars throughout this transit. This intensifies your ambition, curiosity, and willingness to take risks. You may feel inspired to explore unconventional ideas, learn new skills, or pursue opportunities outside your comfort zone. Rahu also increases mental restlessness, making impulsive decisions appear more attractive than they really are. Before making major commitments, signing important agreements, or taking significant financial risks, give yourself enough time to think through the consequences. Bold decisions can bring excellent results during this period, but only when supported by careful planning. Mars also casts its fourth aspect onto your fourth house of home, family, property, and emotional well-being. You may become more active in domestic matters, whether through renovations, property decisions, relocating, or improving your living environment. Family discussions may become more direct, particularly regarding responsibilities or household decisions. This energy can be highly productive if everyone works toward common goals, but avoid allowing impatience to create unnecessary tension at home. If you have been considering purchasing property, renovating your house, or upgrading a vehicle, this transit provides the motivation to move those plans forward after careful consideration. Your seventh house of marriage, partnerships, and business relationships receives Mars' seventh aspect. This is one of the most influential aspects of the transit because it directly affects your closest relationships. Existing partnerships may become more dynamic, with both parties expressing their opinions more openly than usual. While this can occasionally lead to disagreements, it also creates an opportunity to resolve issues that have remained unspoken. Honest communication strengthens relationships far more than avoiding difficult conversations. Those involved in business partnerships or client-facing professions may also find negotiations becoming more active and productive, provided patience and mutual respect remain priorities. Retrograde Saturn in Pisces simultaneously aspects this same seventh house, creating an interesting balance between Mars and Saturn. Mars encourages quick decisions and direct action, while Saturn insists upon responsibility, maturity, and long-term thinking. If relationship discussions or business negotiations move more slowly than expected, resist the urge to force immediate outcomes. Saturn's influence helps ensure that agreements reached during this period are more stable and lasting. Mars' eighth aspect falls on your eighth house of transformation, joint finances, research, and unexpected developments. This is a reminder to remain careful with shared finances, insurance matters, taxes, and legal documentation. Rather than fearing sudden changes, approach them with preparation and practicality. This aspect also supports research, investigation, and learning subjects that require concentration. If your profession involves analysis, finance, medicine, psychology, auditing, or occult sciences, your ability to solve complex problems becomes especially strong. Cancer occupies your second house of wealth, family, and speech. During this transit, Cancer becomes enclosed between Mars in Gemini and Ketu in Leo, creating a temporary Papa Kurthari Yoga around your second house. As a result, family matters or financial planning may occasionally feel more demanding than usual. Communication within the family may require additional patience, and some financial goals could progress more slowly than expected. Fortunately, Jupiter is simultaneously transiting Cancer, providing substantial protection to your finances, family life, and overall stability. Rather than indicating significant losses, this combination suggests temporary pressure that can be managed successfully through careful planning and sensible decision-making. Overall, this is one of the year's most empowering transits for Gemini individuals. Mars brings confidence, initiative, and visibility, encouraging you to take control of your direction instead of waiting for opportunities to arrive. Challenges mainly arise when enthusiasm turns into impatience, or when quick decisions replace thoughtful planning. By combining Mars' courage with Gemini's intelligence, you can accomplish a great deal during these 7 weeks. For Cancer, Mars transits through your 12th house of expenses, foreign connections, spirituality, and the subconscious mind from August 2nd to September 18th, 2026. The 12th house is often associated with endings, foreign lands, charitable work, hospitals, isolation, and the inner world of thoughts and emotions. Whenever Mars activates this house, life tends to become busier behind the scenes rather than out in the open. Although this may not be the most outwardly visible transit, it can become one of the most meaningful periods for preparing the foundation of future growth. Before looking at the individual effects, there is one very important factor that Cancer individuals should remember throughout this transit. Jupiter is currently transiting your own sign, Cancer. This is an exceptionally supportive influence that brings wisdom, protection, and resilience exactly where you need it most. At the same time, Mars in Gemini and Ketu in Leo temporarily form a Papa Karthari Yoga around Cancer, placing your first house between two malefic planets. Ordinarily, this could create feelings of pressure, restriction, or temporary obstacles, but Jupiter's presence greatly softens these effects. Rather than expecting major setbacks, think of this transit as a period that asks for patience, discipline, and thoughtful action, while Jupiter quietly continues opening doors in the background. Mars in the 12th house often increases activity connected with foreign countries, international business, travel, immigration, higher education abroad, or multinational organizations. If you have been planning to relocate, apply for a visa, work with overseas clients, or expand your business internationally, this transit can bring meaningful progress. Likewise, those working behind the scenes, such as researchers, healthcare professionals, spiritual practitioners, or people employed in large institutions, may find themselves unusually productive during these weeks. Mars provides the drive to complete projects that require concentration away from the public eye. Spiritually, this can also become an important period of personal growth. The 12th house governs meditation, retreats, charitable activities, and inner healing. Many Cancer individuals may naturally feel drawn toward solitude, prayer, yoga, or spiritual study. Rather than viewing occasional moments of withdrawal as loneliness, consider them opportunities to reconnect with yourself and clarify your priorities before entering a much busier phase later in the year. At the same time, Mars in the 12th house can increase expenses. Some spending may be connected with travel, education, healthcare, home improvements, or investments for future growth rather than unnecessary losses. Even so, it would be wise to avoid impulsive purchases and maintain a practical budget throughout this period. Sleep patterns may also become more irregular, as Mars tends to keep the mind active even when the body is tired. If you notice your thoughts racing late at night, reducing screen time, maintaining a regular bedtime, and practicing relaxation techniques can make a significant difference. Rahu, currently transiting Aquarius, casts its 5th aspect onto Mars from your 8th house. This influence may occasionally make you dwell on unresolved worries, financial concerns, or past experiences more than necessary. Rahu has a tendency to magnify whatever Mars is already activating, making relatively small issues appear much larger in your mind. Whenever this happens, try to separate facts from assumptions. Direct your mental energy toward practical problem solving rather than allowing anxiety to build through overthinking. Mars also casts its 4th aspect onto your 3rd house of courage, communication, siblings, and self-effort. This is one of the most constructive influences of the transit. You may feel more confident expressing your ideas, taking initiative, or starting projects that require courage and persistence. Writers, marketers, content creators, sales professionals, and entrepreneurs can particularly benefit from this placement because Mars provides determination while Gemini naturally strengthens communication. Short journeys may also increase, and relationships with siblings may become more active, although occasional differences of opinion should be handled patiently rather than emotionally. Your 6th house of health, competition, debts, and daily work receives Mars' 7th aspect. This is generally considered a favorable influence because Mars performs well in the 6th house. If you have been facing workplace challenges, competition, legal matters or unresolved disputes, this transit gives you the determination to confront them directly. Problems that have been lingering for some time may finally begin moving toward resolution. Health-wise, continue paying attention to inflammation, digestive issues or stress-related fatigue, but remember that Mars also supplies the energy needed to improve exercise routines, daily discipline and overall productivity. Retrograde Saturn in Pisces simultaneously aspects your 6th house of work, responsibilities and daily routines. This creates an interesting balance. Mars encourages immediate action, while Saturn asks you to remain patient, organized and methodical. If you combine Mars' courage with Saturn's discipline, you can accomplish a great deal during this period. Success is likely to come through consistency rather than shortcuts. Mars' 8th aspect falls on your 7th house of marriage, partnerships and business relationships. This can make communication within close relationships more direct and honest. While occasional disagreements may arise, they often occur because unresolved issues are finally coming to the surface rather than remaining hidden. Honest conversations handled with patience can strengthen relationships rather than weaken them. If you are negotiating a business partnership or working closely with clients, avoid making decisions purely in the heat of the moment. Careful communication will achieve much better results than impulsive reactions. Overall, this transit encourages Cancer individuals to focus on preparation rather than immediate recognition. Much of your progress may happen quietly behind the scenes, laying the groundwork for future opportunities that become more visible later. Jupiter's presence in your own sign ensures that even when circumstances temporarily feel restrictive, you possess the wisdom, resilience, and support necessary to navigate them successfully. The temporary pressure created by Papa Kurthari Yoga is real, but it is considerably softened by Jupiter's protective influence. By the time Mars leaves Gemini on September 18th, many Cancer individuals will realize that this period was less about external obstacles and more about strengthening their inner foundation. Whether through spiritual growth, improved discipline, foreign opportunities, or resolving long-standing issues, this transit prepares you for the next stage of your journey. For Leo, Mars moves through your 11th house of gains, income and networks from August 2nd to September 18th, 2026. This is generally considered one of the more favorable houses for a transit like this, since the 11th house governs income, fulfillment of desires, friendships and elder siblings, and Mars here brings a strong, active push toward achieving your financial and social goals. You are likely to feel unusually driven to expand your income, chase a long-held ambition, or strengthen your professional network during this window. Because Mars is sitting in Gemini, this drive expresses itself mainly through communication, negotiation, networking events, and active outreach rather than quiet, behind-the-scenes effort. So this is a good period to pitch ideas, ask for what you want directly, and put yourself forward in group settings or professional circles. At the same time, Gemini's connection to Mercury, Mars's enemy, means friction can surface in friendships or group settings, with disagreements or competitive tension arising among friends, colleagues or elder siblings over money, credit, or recognition. Keep ego in check in these circles even as you pursue your goals assertively. If you work in sales, marketing, business development, or any role where visible results and active outreach matter, this transit can genuinely accelerate your numbers, since Mars gives you the drive and Gemini gives you the words to close deals and open doors that were previously stuck. It is worth noting that Ketu is currently transiting through your own sign, Leo, which already tends to bring a slightly detached or restless undertone to matters of self-identity and personal direction during this broader period, and Mars's activity in Gemini interacts with this energy by keeping your mind busy and outward-focused even while some part of you may feel a need for quieter reflection. Balancing outward ambition with a little inward pause will serve you well through these weeks. Rahu is aspecting your Mars from Aquarius, and this adds a restless, sometimes obsessive quality to your pursuit of gains and social validation. You might find yourself unusually fixated on a specific goal, a number, or a comparison with someone else's success. Try to stay grounded in your own progress rather than getting swept up in impulsive competitive urges that Rahu tends to stir up. Mars's 4th aspect falls on your 2nd house of wealth, family and speech. This can bring some sharpness to how you speak with family members, and possibly some impulsive spending alongside the gains this transit is otherwise supporting. Debilitated Venus is also present in this house from August 1st to September 2nd, which can add extra tension around family finances or values, So it is worth being deliberate rather than reactive with money decisions and family conversations during this specific window. Your 5th house of children, romance, education, and creativity receives the 7th aspect of Mars. This can bring passionate energy into your romantic life, though it may also bring some dominance or impatience if you are not careful with a partner or with children. Students and anyone pursuing further education may find themselves putting in intense, competitive effort now, and if channeled well, this can produce strong results. Saturn retrograde in Pisces is aspecting this same house too, which can slow down outcomes even as Mars pushes for speed, so patience with results, especially around exams, admissions, or creative projects, will serve you better than frustration. Speculative ventures connected to this house, including stock market activity or any form of calculated risk-taking, deserve extra caution right now, since Mars can tempt you toward bolder bets than your usual comfort level allows. The 8th aspect of Mars lands on your 6th house of disputes, health, and daily work. This is a house that often gets activated strongly by Mars, and you may find yourself dealing with workplace friction, competitive pressure from rivals, or health issues that need direct attention. If your Mars is well placed, this aspect can actually help you win disputes, outperform competitors, and push through health challenges with real determination. Just be mindful that the same energy that helps you win a dispute can just as easily start one unnecessarily if your temper gets the better of you. Daily routines, exercise habits, and general vitality also fall under this house, so this transit is a good opportunity to bring more discipline into your fitness and work schedule, provided you avoid pushing your body too hard too fast. Cancer falls in your 12th house of expenses, foreign connections, and rest, and the Papa Karthari Yoga formed by Mars and Gemini and Ketu in your own sign affects this house for you. You may notice higher than usual expenses, disturbed sleep, or a general sense of things related to foreign travel or behind-the-scenes matters feeling more restricted than usual. Jupiter transiting through Cancer at the same time offers real support here, softening what could otherwise feel like a bigger drain on your resources or your rest. Overall, this is a genuinely productive transit for Leo individuals if you use the energy wisely, since Mars is activating your house of gains and giving you real momentum toward your goals and ambitions. Push forward on income opportunities, networking, and putting yourself out there, but watch your tongue with family and friends, and do not let competitive urges turn into unnecessary conflict. Keep an eye on your expenses and your rest, and channel the assertive energy of these 7 weeks into building rather than proving a point to anyone around you. Leo individuals who balance this outward drive with a bit of quiet self-reflection each day will likely find this transit brings both visible external progress and a subtle sense of inner clarity by the time Mars exits Gemini on September 18th. For Virgo, Mars transits through your 10th house of career, reputation, and public standing from August 2nd to September 18th, 2026. The 10th house is one of the most visible areas of the horoscope, governing your profession, achievements, leadership, and the image you project to the world. Whenever Mars energizes this house, it brings ambition, determination, and the willingness to take initiative. Although Mars is traveling through Gemini, a sign ruled by its planetary enemy Mercury, this transit can still become one of the most professionally productive periods of the year. Your success during these weeks depends less on working harder and more on communicating effectively, taking decisive action, and being willing to step into positions of responsibility. This is an excellent period to pursue promotions, interviews, business expansion, public speaking, marketing, sales, or any career move that requires confidence and visibility. Your ideas are more likely to gain attention, and people in authority are likely to notice your efforts. If you have been waiting for the right moment to present a proposal, launch a business initiative, or ask for greater responsibility, this transit provides the courage to move forward. The only caution is to avoid becoming overly impatient or argumentative with colleagues or superiors. Mars gives leadership qualities, but true leadership also requires diplomacy. A calm and confident approach will earn much greater respect than trying to prove yourself through confrontation. One of the most significant features of this transit is Mars' 4th aspect onto your own sign, Virgo, your 1st house of self, personality, and physical well-being. At the same time, Venus remains debilitated in Virgo from August 1st to September 2nd, meaning Mars is directly aspecting a weakened Venus. This combination deserves attention because it can create temporary pressure in Venus-related areas such as relationships, emotional balance, appearance, comfort, and self-confidence. You may become more self-critical than usual or expect perfection from yourself and others. Virgo already has a natural tendency to analyze every detail, and Mars can increase impatience whenever things fail to meet your expectations. The key lesson here is balance. Rather than viewing every imperfection as a problem to solve immediately, allow yourself room for gradual improvement. This transit is not reducing your abilities, it is simply increasing your desire for better results. Relationships may occasionally feel strained if criticism replaces appreciation, so choose encouragement over fault-finding whenever possible. Likewise, pay attention to your physical well-being by maintaining healthy routines, getting sufficient rest and avoiding unnecessary stress. Minor issues such as digestive sensitivity, fatigue or skin irritation can often be managed easily through consistent self-care rather than worry. Rahu, currently transiting Aquarius, casts its fifth aspect onto Mars from your sixth house. This increases your ambition and competitive spirit, especially in professional matters. You may become highly focused on achieving a promotion, meeting business targets, or outperforming competitors. This can work strongly in your favor provided you avoid comparing yourself constantly with others. Rahu tends to magnify desire, making success feel just out of reach even when you are progressing steadily. Stay focused on your own goals rather than measuring your journey against someone else's achievements. Mars' seventh aspect falls on your fourth house of home, property, vehicles, and your relationship with your mother. You may become more active in domestic matters, whether through renovations, property decisions, or family responsibilities. Discussions at home could occasionally become more direct than usual, but this energy can also help resolve issues that have been postponed for some time. If you have been considering purchasing property, renovating your home, or making important family decisions, this transit gives you the motivation to move those plans forward. Retrograde Saturn in Pisces simultaneously aspects this same fourth house, introducing patience and practicality into matters involving home and property. While Mars encourages immediate action, Saturn reminds you to plan carefully and avoid rushing major decisions. Some property matters or family plans may take longer than expected, but careful preparation now is likely to produce better long-term results. Mars' eighth aspect falls on your fifth house of children, education, creativity, and romance. This influence often brings sudden developments rather than gradual progress. Students preparing for competitive examinations may experience a surge of motivation and determination, making this an excellent period for disciplined study. Those working in creative fields may discover fresh ideas or feel inspired to begin new projects. Romance can become more passionate and expressive, although impatience or unrealistic expectations should be avoided. Parents may also find themselves spending more time guiding or supporting their children through important decisions. Cancer occupies your 11th house of gains, income, friendships, and long-term ambitions. During this transit, Cancer becomes enclosed between Mars in Gemini and Ketu in Leo, creating a temporary Papa Karthari Yoga around your 11th house. As a result, gains, financial growth, or support from friends and professional networks may progress more slowly than you initially expect. This is where Jupiter's presence in Cancer becomes especially important. Jupiter significantly softens the restrictive influence of this yoga, suggesting that delays are much more likely than permanent obstacles. Continue working steadily toward your goals, because opportunities remain available even if results arrive gradually rather than immediately. Financially, this is a period of steady progress rather than sudden breakthroughs. Your professional efforts are likely to receive recognition, but rewards may unfold over time instead of all at once. Business owners can benefit from expanding professional contacts, improving communication strategies, and strengthening long-term client relationships rather than chasing quick gains. Overall, this transit places Virgo individuals in an unusually visible and influential professional position. Mars encourages decisive action, confidence, and leadership, while Jupiter quietly protects your future gains and long-term ambitions. The greatest challenge is not external opposition but your own tendency toward excessive self-criticism. Trust your abilities, communicate with patience, and remember that steady progress often creates more lasting success than rapid achievement. For Libra, Mars transits through your 9th house of father, luck, and higher education from August 2nd to September 18th, 2026. The 9th house governs your belief system, your relationship with your father or a guru figure, long-distance travel, and your overall sense of dharma or purpose. So Mars here often brings a strong urge to assert your own beliefs and take bold, sometimes rash decisions connected to religion, philosophy, or higher learning. You may find yourself in more frequent or more heated discussions about values, beliefs, or life direction with your father, a teacher or a mentor during this period. Since Mars is in Gemini, this assertiveness comes out mainly through words and argument rather than physical confrontation, so expect debates, opinions shared a bit too forcefully, and a strong pull to prove you are right rather than simply listen. Long-distance travel connected to education, pilgrimage, or work is likely to come up during this window, and while it can be productive, plan the logistics carefully since Mars can push you toward hasty decisions in this area. If you are pursuing higher studies, applying for programs abroad, or working on a publishing or teaching project, this transit gives you the courage and drive to push these forward actively, and results can be strong if you pair enthusiasm with careful attention to deadlines and paperwork. Rahu is aspecting your Mars from Aquarius, adding an unpredictable, obsessive quality to your beliefs and long-term plans. You might find yourself drawn to unconventional philosophies, sudden changes of opinion, or an intense fixation on a particular belief or cause during this transit. This can be a period of genuine intellectual growth if you stay curious and open, but it can also lead to rigid, extreme positions if you let Rahu's influence take over completely, so try to keep some flexibility in how firmly you hold your views right now. Mars's fourth aspect falls on your 12th house of expenses, foreign connections and rest. This can bring higher spending, disturbed sleep, or a restless undertone to your subconscious mind during this transit. On the positive side, if you have foreign travel plans or work connected to international clients, this aspect can help push those forward, so use the energy for productive foreign or spiritual pursuits rather than letting it show up only as anxiety or overspending. Meditation, quiet reflection, or any spiritual practice you already follow will help settle the restless undercurrent this house tends to bring during a Mars transit, especially since your mind may feel busier than usual even when your body is at rest. Your sign Lord Venus occupies your 12th house while receiving Mars aspect, which may increase expenses on travel, comforts, luxury items, or relationships. This combination is excellent for spiritual retreats, artistic inspiration, and charitable activities, provided you avoid unnecessary spending driven by impulse rather than need. Saturn retrograde in Pisces is also aspecting your 12th house at the same time, adding a slow, restrictive undertone to expenses and rest, so be extra careful about impulsive spending even as Mars encourages boldness elsewhere. Your third house of courage, communication, and siblings receives the 7th aspect of Mars, and this is a genuinely useful placement for you. It gives you extra boldness in speaking up, pitching ideas, and pursuing short-term goals through direct effort and communication. Relationships with siblings may see some competitive tension, and short trips connected to work or personal matters are likely during this window. This is also a favorable stretch for writing, marketing, or any communication-based project you want to launch, since Mars energizes this house of effort and initiative, giving you the drive to start something new and see it through with real momentum. The 8th aspect of Mars lands on your 4th house of home, mother, and domestic peace, and this can bring sudden developments connected to property, a house move, or your relationship with your mother. This aspect often signals abrupt changes rather than gradual ones, so stay flexible if plans around your home life shift unexpectedly during these 7 weeks. If you have been considering a real estate transaction, this transit can bring the push needed to finalize it, though double-check all documentation carefully given Mars's tendency to rush things. Cancer falls in your 10th house of career and public standing, and the Papa Kothari Yoga formed by Mars in Gemini and Ketu in Leo affects this house for you. Your professional visibility, recognition from superiors, or overall career momentum may feel somewhat restricted or slower than usual during this transit, and you may need to work harder than normal to get the recognition you deserve. Jupiter transiting through Cancer at the same time offers a real cushion here though, so this slowdown is more likely to be temporary rather than a genuine setback, and steady, consistent effort will still be noticed and rewarded even if the pace feels frustratingly slow right now. Overall, this transit brings a strong philosophical and communicative energy for Libra individuals, pushing you to speak your mind on matters of belief, direction, and purpose while also asking you to be patient with your career trajectory during this same window. Use the courage this transit gives you to have honest conversations with your father or mentor figures, pursue educational or travel opportunities that excite you, and watch your spending and sleep habits along the way. Balance intellectual boldness with genuine listening, since Libra's natural gift for fairness will serve you far better in these debates than simply winning an argument for its own sake. By staying grounded and consistent at work even while career recognition feels slower than you would like, you set yourself up for a stronger, more visible position once this transit ends, and Jupiter's support in your 10th house continues to build momentum quietly in the background. For Scorpio, Mars transits through your 8th house of transformation, sudden events and joint finances from August 2nd to September 18th, 2026. Since Mars is your ruling planet, this transit carries special importance for you. The 8th house is naturally associated with Scorpio's own themes of transformation, hidden matters, research and rebirth, so Mars entering this house tends to activate deep changes beneath the surface. Although Mars is traveling through Gemini, a sign ruled by its planetary enemy Mercury, this transit does not necessarily indicate a negative period. Rather, it signals a phase where important matters that have remained hidden, delayed, or unresolved begin demanding your attention. Instead of quiet transformation, Gemini brings these changes through conversations, negotiations, paperwork, information, and communication. One of the strongest opportunities during this transit lies in research, investigation, and strategic planning. If your profession involves finance, taxation, insurance, psychology, medicine, auditing, cybersecurity, detective work, analytics, or any field requiring deep investigation, this can become an exceptionally productive period. Your natural Scorpio ability to uncover hidden information combines with Mars' courage and determination, allowing you to solve complicated problems that others overlook. Those studying astrology, spirituality, occult sciences, or other research-oriented subjects may also find themselves making meaningful progress during these weeks. At the same time, the 8th house governs joint finances, inheritances, loans, insurance, taxes, and shared assets. These subjects are likely to become more active than usual. Some of you may need to review financial agreements with a spouse or business partner, deal with insurance claims, restructure debts, or make important decisions regarding investments. Rather than creating problems on its own, Mars simply pushes these matters toward resolution. Handle paperwork carefully, avoid unnecessary haste, and read contracts thoroughly before signing anything. Rahu, currently transiting Aquarius, casts its 5th aspect onto Mars throughout this transit. This adds an intense, obsessive, and unconventional quality to your thinking. You may become deeply focused on solving a financial issue, researching a subject, or uncovering information that has been hidden for some time. This can be a tremendous advantage when directed toward productive work, but if left unchecked, it may also lead to unnecessary anxiety or overthinking. Whenever you notice yourself replaying the same worries repeatedly, consciously shift your attention toward finding practical solutions rather than dwelling on worst-case scenarios. Mars also casts its 4th aspect onto your 11th house of gains, income, ambitions, and professional networks. This is one of the strongest supportive influences of this transit. You may become more motivated to pursue financial goals, expand your professional circle, or actively seek new sources of income. Business owners may discover profitable opportunities through networking, referrals, or collaborative ventures. Although competition within your professional circles may increase slightly, healthy competition can motivate you to perform at a higher level. If you have been considering asking for a raise, launching a side business, or pursuing a long-term financial objective, this transit provides the courage to move forward with confidence. Retrograde Saturn in Pisces simultaneously aspects your 11th house of gains and networks. While Mars encourages rapid financial progress, Saturn reminds you that lasting success is built gradually. Some financial goals may take longer to materialize than you initially expect, but steady effort will produce stronger and more sustainable results. Rather than becoming frustrated by slower progress, use Saturn's influence to build stronger foundations for the future. Your 2nd house of wealth, family, and speech receives Mars' 7th aspect. This deserves some attention because Mars can make your speech more direct and forceful than usual. Discussions involving money, family responsibilities, or shared finances may occasionally become heated if emotions take over. Choose your words carefully, especially with close relatives. Honest conversations are beneficial during this period, but diplomacy will accomplish far more than blunt criticism. You may also become more conscious about building long-term financial security, making this a favorable time to review savings plans, investments, or family financial planning. Mars' 8th aspect falls on your 3rd house of courage, communication, siblings, and self-effort. This is another constructive influence that increases your confidence and determination. You may finally initiate conversations you have been postponing, launch a new business idea, begin learning a new skill, or take bold action on projects requiring initiative. Writers, content creators, marketers, and entrepreneurs can particularly benefit from this placement, as Mars supplies the drive while Gemini encourages communication. Relationships with siblings may occasionally become competitive, but these differences can usually be resolved through open discussion rather than stubbornness. Cancer occupies your 9th house of father, higher education, long-distance travel, and fortune. During this period, Cancer becomes enclosed between Mars and Gemini and Ketu in Leo, forming a temporary Papa Karthari Yoga around your 9th house. As a result, plans connected with higher education, foreign travel, legal matters, or your father may progress more slowly than expected. It is important not to overstate this influence. Jupiter is simultaneously transiting Cancer, providing substantial protection and significantly reducing the restrictive effects of this yoga. Delays are far more likely than denial. Patience, proper planning, and realistic expectations will allow most matters to move forward successfully once the timing improves. Because Mars occupies the 8th house, it is also sensible to pay greater attention to your physical well-being. This does not mean serious problems are likely. Rather, it is a reminder to avoid unnecessary risks, drive responsibly, follow safety precautions, and address minor health concerns promptly before they become larger issues. Small preventive actions taken now can save considerable trouble later. Overall, this is a deeply transformative transit that encourages Scorpio individuals to become stronger, wiser, and more resourceful. Hidden opportunities may emerge alongside hidden challenges, and your ability to remain calm while others become overwhelmed becomes one of your greatest strengths. Financial restructuring, research, strategic planning, and professional networking are all strongly supported if approached patiently. Be mindful of impulsive speech, avoid rushing important financial decisions, and channel Mars' powerful energy into constructive action rather than unnecessary conflict. For Sagittarius, Mars transits through your 7th house of marriage, partnerships, and public dealings from August 2nd to September 18th, 2026. The 7th house governs your spouse, business partnerships, clients, contracts, and the way you interact with other people. Whenever Mars moves through this house, relationships become more active, direct, and dynamic. Since Mars is transiting Gemini, a sign ruled by Mercury, the emphasis is less on physical action and more on communication, negotiation, and exchanging ideas. This transit is not simply about conflict. Rather, it encourages honest conversations, stronger boundaries, and greater clarity in your important relationships. Matters that have remained unresolved may finally come to the surface, giving you an opportunity to address them constructively instead of allowing them to continue quietly in the background. If you are involved in business, consulting, client-facing work, or public relations, this can become an especially productive period. Mars gives you the confidence to negotiate, promote your ideas, and pursue new opportunities with determination. Business partnerships may become more active, and new collaborations could emerge through networking or professional communication. Those who are single may also become more proactive in meeting new people or pursuing relationships. The important lesson is to balance confidence with patience, ensuring that enthusiasm does not replace careful judgment. One of the defining features of this transit is Mars' 7th aspect onto your own sign, Sagittarius, directly influencing your 1st house of self, health, and personality. This increases your energy, confidence, and willingness to take initiative. Many Sagittarius individuals will feel more motivated to pursue personal goals, improve their fitness, travel, learn new skills, or take leadership roles. Others may notice that you appear more assertive and decisive than usual. This is an excellent period to begin projects that require courage, persistence, and independent thinking. At the same time, retrograde Saturn in Pisces casts its 10th aspect onto your 1st house, creating an important balance. Mars wants immediate progress, while Saturn encourages careful planning, responsibility, and discipline. Rather than viewing these influences as contradictory, think of them as complementary. Mars supplies the courage to move forward, while Saturn ensures that your actions are practical and sustainable. Decisions made with patience during this period are likely to produce much stronger long-term results than those made purely on impulse. You may occasionally feel that progress is slower than you would like, but Saturn's influence often prevents costly mistakes by encouraging thoughtful preparation. Rahu, currently transiting Aquarius, casts its 5th aspect onto Mars throughout this transit. Rahu intensifies your desire to express yourself, explore new ideas, and pursue relationships with enthusiasm. It can also increase impulsiveness, making you eager to reach conclusions before gathering all the necessary information. During negotiations, legal agreements, or important personal discussions, take a little extra time to verify facts before making final decisions. Rahu rewards innovation but not recklessness. Mars also casts its fourth aspect onto your 10th house of career, profession and public reputation. This is one of the strongest professional influences of the transit. Your ambition increases, and you may feel inspired to pursue promotions, leadership opportunities, or more challenging responsibilities. If you have been waiting to present a proposal, apply for a new position, or take charge of an important project, this transit supports those efforts. Business owners and entrepreneurs may particularly benefit from increased visibility and stronger communication with clients or customers. Your confidence can leave a positive impression on people in positions of authority, provided you remain respectful and avoid unnecessary confrontations. Your second house of wealth, family and speech, receives Mars' 7th aspect. Financial matters may require more attention than usual, especially discussions involving family responsibilities, savings, or long-term planning. Mars can make your speech more direct, so be mindful of how you communicate with family members. Honest discussions are beneficial, but diplomacy often achieves better results than blunt criticism. This is also a favorable period to review financial goals, strengthen your savings strategy, or pursue additional income through your professional efforts. Mars' 8th aspect falls on your 8th house of transformation, shared finances, insurance, and unexpected developments. Since Cancer occupies this house, it also becomes enclosed between Mars in Gemini and Ketu in Leo, forming a temporary Papa Karthari Yoga around your 8th house. This suggests that matters involving joint finances, taxes, insurance, inheritances, or a partner's financial resources may require extra patience. Fortunately, Jupiter is simultaneously transiting Cancer, significantly reducing the restrictive effects of this yoga. Rather than indicating major losses or crises, this combination is more likely to produce temporary delays, additional paperwork, or situations that require careful organization. If you approach financial decisions methodically and avoid unnecessary risks, this transit can ultimately strengthen your long-term financial security. Health-wise, Mars aspecting both your 1st and 8th houses reminds you to respect your physical energy. You may feel highly motivated, but avoid overexertion or taking unnecessary risks simply because your confidence is elevated. Consistent exercise, proper rest, and moderation will allow you to make the most of Mars' vitality without exhausting yourself. Relationships remain one of the central themes throughout this transit. Existing partnerships may become more honest, transparent, and action-oriented. Conversations that have been postponed for weeks or months may finally take place, creating greater clarity and mutual understanding. In many cases, this transit is less about creating conflict and more about encouraging healthier communication and stronger boundaries. Business relationships can also benefit from clearer expectations and more decisive leadership. Overall, this is a dynamic and constructive transit that encourages Sagittarius individuals to become more confident in both their personal and professional lives. Mars provides the courage to take action, Saturn offers the discipline to act wisely, and Jupiter quietly protects the more sensitive areas of your chart. The combination creates excellent opportunities for career advancement, business growth, personal development, and healthier relationships, provided you remain patient when progress appears slower than expected. For Capricorn, Mars transits through your 6th house of disputes, health, and daily work from August 2nd to September 18th, 2026. The 6th house governs competition, disagreements, debts, service, and your day-to-day work routine, and this is actually one of the houses where Mars tends to function well, since it naturally supports the courage needed to face rivals, resolve disputes, and push through daily challenges. Since Mars is placed in Gemini, this energy shows up mainly through verbal sparring, negotiation, and active problem-solving rather than quiet, background effort, so expect this period to bring more direct confrontations with competitors, colleagues, or anyone you are currently in disagreement with. If you have pending legal matters, workplace disputes, or debts to resolve, this transit gives you the assertiveness to address them head-on, and results tend to favor those who act with confidence and clarity rather than avoidance. Health-wise, keep an eye on minor infections, inflammation, or stress-related complaints, since this house also governs disease, and a demanding work pace during this window can take a toll if self-care slips. If your work involves competitive selling, negotiation, legal proceedings, or handling difficult clients, this transit can genuinely work in your favor, since Mars in Gemini sharpens your ability to argue your case persuasively and hold your ground under pressure. There is a significant point specifically for Capricorn individuals this transit. Mars's 8th aspect from Gemini lands directly on your own sign, Capricorn, your first house of self, body and personality. The 8th aspect generally signals sudden, unexpected developments rather than gradual change, so you may experience an abrupt shift connected to your self-image, your health, or a personal decision that changes your direction rather quickly during these 7 weeks. This is not necessarily a negative influence, since sudden change can also mean a sudden opportunity or a bold decision you finally have the nerve to make, but it does call for extra alertness around your physical safety and a willingness to adapt quickly if circumstances shift without much warning. Avoid unnecessary risks with your health or safety during this specific window, and pay attention if your body signals that you need rest rather than pushing through relentlessly. Since this aspect touches your own sign directly, even small lifestyle changes, whether a new fitness routine, a change in appearance, or a bold personal decision, can feel unusually significant right now, and many Capricorn natives may use this period to make meaningful personal changes, whether improving their health, adopting a new routine, or taking an important decision that shapes the next stage of their life. Rahu is aspecting your Mars from Aquarius as well, adding a restless, unpredictable quality to disputes and daily work matters. You might find yourself more argumentative than usual, or unusually fixated on winning a particular conflict at work. Try to channel this energy into constructive problem solving rather than letting it turn into prolonged conflict for its own sake, since Rahu tends to prolong disputes rather than resolve them if left unchecked. Mars's 4th aspect falls on your 9th house of father, luck and higher education. This can bring some friction or difference of opinion with your father or a mentor figure, along with a strong urge to assert your own beliefs. Long-distance travel connected to work or education may come up during this window, and this aspect can bring genuine opportunities here if approached with a bit of patience rather than impulsiveness. Your overall sense of luck and larger purpose may also feel more active during this time, pushing you to reconsider your long-term direction or take a bold step toward a goal connected to higher learning or personal growth. Your 12th house of expenses, foreign connections and rest receives the 7th aspect of Mars, which can bring higher spending or disturbed sleep during this transit. If you have foreign travel or international work connections, this aspect can help push those forward, so try to direct this restless energy toward productive foreign or spiritual pursuits rather than letting it show up only as anxiety or overspending. A short retreat, a quiet weekend away, or simply reducing screen time before bed can help settle the restlessness this house tends to bring during a Mars transit. Cancer falls in your 7th house of marriage, partnerships and public dealings, and the Papa Karthari Yoga formed by Mars in Gemini and Ketu in Leo affects this house for you. Relationships and business partnerships may feel more strained, distant or restricted than usual during this transit, and it is worth being patient and communicative with a spouse or business partner rather than assuming the worst about any tension that arises. Jupiter transiting through Cancer at the same time offers genuine support here, so this pressure is more likely to be a temporary phase than a lasting rupture. An honest conversation will go a long way toward easing it. Overall, this transit plays to Capricorn's natural strengths in facing challenges head-on, since Mars is comfortably placed in your house of disputes and daily effort, giving you real momentum to resolve conflicts and push through a demanding workload. At the same time, the direct aspect on your own sign calls for extra care with your health and a readiness to adapt quickly if something shifts unexpectedly. Stay patient with relationships going through a rough patch, and use the disciplined, results-oriented energy Capricorn is known for to turn this transit's intensity into steady, visible progress. By approaching both conflict and sudden change with your characteristic composure rather than panic, you are likely to emerge from this transit with a stronger position at work and a clearer sense of who you are becoming. For Aquarius, Mars transits through your 5th house of children, romance, education and creativity from August 2nd to September 18th, 2026. The 5th house governs matters of the heart, your relationship with children, your studies and your creative or speculative pursuits, so Mars here often brings a passionate, high-energy quality to romance and a competitive, driven quality to education and creative work. Since Mars is placed in Gemini, this energy expresses itself mainly through communication, quick thinking and active pursuit rather than quiet patience, so expect romantic conversations to feel more intense, decisions about children or education to move faster than usual, and creative ideas to flow rapidly, sometimes faster than you can act on them. Students in this sign may find themselves unusually driven and competitive during this window, which can produce strong academic results if that energy is directed properly rather than scattered across too many things at once. A common risk whenever Mars sits in Gemini is restless, multitasking energy. If you enjoy creative writing, content creation, or any artistic outlet, this transit can bring a genuine surge of inspiration and productivity, though it is worth finishing what you start rather than jumping between too many new ideas before any of them mature. There is an important layer to this transit specifically for Aquarius individuals. Rahu is currently transiting through your own sign, Aquarius, sitting right in your first house of self and personality, and it is this same Rahu that is casting its aspect onto Mars in your fifth house during this period. This means the general restlessness and unconventional drive that Rahu has already been bringing to your identity and self-expression is now reaching directly into matters of romance, children, and creative pursuits, intensifying the highs and lows in this part of life more than a typical Mars transit would. You may feel pulled toward bold, unconventional choices in love or creative expression right now, and while this can lead to genuinely exciting breakthroughs, it can also tip into impulsiveness if you do not pause to think things through. Trust your instincts here, but double-check major romantic or creative decisions before fully committing to them. This layered Rahu and Mars energy also means your usual Aquarius independence and originality may show up even more strongly than usual in how you approach love and self-expression. And while that authenticity is a genuine strength, it helps to stay mindful of how your bold choices affect the people closest to you. Mars' fourth aspect falls on your eighth house of transformation, shared finances, research, and unexpected developments. This combination calls for greater care with joint finances, insurance matters, taxes, and legal documentation, while also reminding you to avoid unnecessary risks and act cautiously in situations involving your physical safety. The eighth aspect often brings sudden developments, but with careful planning many of these changes can ultimately work in your favor. Venus occupies your eighth house while receiving Mars aspect. Existing relationships may require more openness and trust, while financial decisions involving loans, insurance, or shared assets should be handled carefully. This combination also favors research, psychology, and occult studies by increasing your willingness to explore subjects beneath the surface. Your 11th house of gains, income, and networks receives the 7th aspect of Mars, which is a genuinely favorable placement, giving you extra drive to pursue income opportunities and expand your professional and social circles. This is a good window to network actively, chase a long-held ambition, or push forward on a financial goal, though some competitive tension with friends or elder siblings is possible, so stay gracious even while pursuing your own interests. Group projects, community involvement, or collaborative ventures, all areas Aquarius naturally gravitates toward, may see a noticeable boost in momentum during this transit as well. The 8th aspect of Mars lands on your 12th house of expenses, foreign connections, and rest. This can bring higher spending, disturbed sleep, or a restless undercurrent to your subconscious mind during this transit. If you have foreign travel plans or spiritual interests, this aspect can help push those forward, so channel this energy toward productive pursuits abroad or inward reflection rather than letting it show up only as anxiety. Cancer falls in your 6th house of disputes, health, and daily work, and the Papa Karthari Yoga formed by Mars in Gemini and Ketu in Leo affects this house for you. You may notice more friction with coworkers or competitors, along with some health issues connected to stress or overwork during this transit. Jupiter transiting through Cancer at the same time offers real support here though, helping you handle disputes and daily pressures with more resilience than the yoga alone would suggest, so this is more likely to be a manageable challenge than a major setback. Try to address any brewing conflict at work directly and early, rather than letting it build up quietly over these 7 weeks. Overall, this transit brings a vivid, fast-moving energy to matters of the heart, creativity, and education for Aquarius individuals, amplified further by Rahu's ongoing presence in your own sign. Use this window to pursue romantic connections and creative projects with genuine boldness, while staying alert enough to pause before major decisions rather than acting purely on impulse. Balance the excitement Mars and Rahu bring together with a bit of grounded thinking, and this can be a genuinely memorable, productive period for anything connected to love, learning, and self-expression. Give yourself permission to enjoy the intensity of this transit, while keeping at least one trusted person in your life to check your bigger decisions against before you act on them. For Pisces, Mars transits through your 4th house of home, family, property, and emotional foundations from August 2nd to September 18th, 2026. The 4th house represents your domestic life, your relationship with your mother, your residence, vehicles, real estate, and your inner sense of emotional security. Whenever Mars enters this part of the chart, it brings movement, activity, and a desire to make changes. Since Mars is transiting Gemini, much of this energy expresses itself through communication, planning, and decision-making rather than purely physical action. While this transit can occasionally create tension within the home environment, it also provides the motivation to address matters that may have remained unresolved for some time. If you have been considering purchasing property, renovating your home, relocating, or making significant improvements to your living space, this transit can provide the determination needed to finally move those plans forward. Family discussions regarding property, finances, or household responsibilities may become more active during these weeks. Rather than avoiding these conversations, use Mars' courage to resolve practical issues with patience and maturity. What initially appears to be conflict can often become an opportunity to improve your domestic life over the long term. An important background influence throughout this transit is retrograde Saturn in your own sign, Pisces. Saturn naturally brings discipline, responsibility, and long-term thinking, while Mars prefers immediate action. At times you may feel as though one part of you wants to move quickly while another insists on slowing down and carefully evaluating every decision. Instead of viewing this as frustration, recognize it as a valuable balance. Mars supplies the initiative, while Saturn ensures that the decisions you make now are built on solid foundations. This combination can be especially helpful for long-term investments, property decisions, and family responsibilities that require careful planning. Mars also encourages you to become more involved with matters concerning your home and family. Your mother's well-being or emotional needs may require additional attention during this period, and your support can make a meaningful difference. Likewise, responsibilities connected with your household may temporarily increase, but they also offer an opportunity to create greater stability and harmony in the months ahead. Rahu, currently transiting Aquarius, casts its fifth aspect onto Mars from your 12th house. This influence can occasionally make you overthink domestic situations or become preoccupied with family concerns. Small misunderstandings may seem larger than they actually are if assumptions replace clear communication. Whenever you notice yourself dwelling on a household issue or replaying family conversations repeatedly, step back and focus on practical solutions instead of imagined outcomes. Rahu increases mental intensity, but conscious awareness prevents that intensity from becoming unnecessary worry. Mars' fourth aspect falls on your 7th house of marriage, partnerships, and business relationships. This brings greater honesty and directness into your interactions with your spouse, business partner, or important clients. Existing issues that have remained beneath the surface may now come into open discussion. While this can occasionally lead to disagreements, it also provides an opportunity to strengthen relationships through honest communication. If both sides are willing to listen as much as they speak, many misunderstandings can actually be resolved during this transit. Your 10th house of career, reputation, and professional achievements receives Mars' 7th aspect, making this one of the strongest professional influences of the transit. Even though much of your attention may be directed toward home and family, your career does not remain inactive. In fact, this aspect increases your ambition, leadership abilities, and willingness to take responsibility. Those seeking promotions, leadership positions, or greater recognition at work may find this an encouraging period to demonstrate their capabilities. Mars gives you the confidence to step forward, while Saturn's presence in your own sign helps ensure that any professional progress achieved now is based on consistent effort rather than temporary good fortune. If your work involves management, engineering, construction, administration, consulting, or client interaction, you may find yourself handling greater responsibilities successfully. This is also an excellent period to improve your professional reputation through reliability, discipline, and thoughtful decision-making rather than dramatic gestures. Mars' 8th aspect falls on your 11th house of gains, income, friendships, and long-term ambitions. The 8th aspect often brings sudden developments, and in this case those changes can work in your favor if you remain adaptable. Unexpected developments involving income, valuable professional contacts, or invitations through friends and networks may appear during these weeks. At the same time, friendships may undergo some natural changes as you become clearer about which relationships genuinely support your long-term goals. Networking, joining professional organizations, or expanding your business connections can prove particularly rewarding during this transit. Cancer occupies your 5th house of children, education, creativity, and romance. During this period, Cancer becomes enclosed between Mars in Gemini and Ketu in Leo, creating a temporary Papa Karthari yoga around your 5th house. As a result, matters involving romance, children, education, or creative projects may sometimes feel slower or more demanding than expected. It is essential to view this influence in its full context. Jupiter is simultaneously transiting Cancer, significantly reducing the restrictive effects of this yoga. Rather than indicating serious setbacks, this combination is more likely to produce temporary delays that ultimately strengthen your plans. Students may need extra discipline, parents may need additional patience, and creative projects may require revision before producing their best results. Emotionally, this transit encourages you to build stronger foundations rather than seeking quick results. Saturn asks for maturity, Mars supplies initiative, and Jupiter quietly offers protection where it matters most. By combining all three influences, you can make lasting progress in both your personal and professional life. Overall, this is a constructive transit that encourages Pisces individuals to strengthen the foundations upon which future success will be built. Improvements made to your home, family relationships, career direction, and long-term goals can continue benefiting you well after Mars leaves Gemini. Challenges are more likely to arise through impatience than through circumstances themselves, so allow Saturn's wisdom to temper Mars' urgency whenever important decisions arise. As we conclude this episode, please keep in mind that these insights are based on the sidereal zodiac system used in Vedic astrology, which differs from the tropical system by approximately 24 degrees. These are general predictions. The real impact depends on your dasha cycles and your individual birth chart. For a personalized analysis or consultation, feel free to reach out. If you found this video valuable, please like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And now, you can also hype this video to boost it within the community. Your support helps this knowledge reach more people who may benefit. Thank you for watching. Stay aware, keep learning, and keep shining bright.